or white or whatever, it doesn't matter. You still have the same blood called red, right? You know what I mean?
Yes.
The only thing different is the hair color, the skin color, but the brain is still the same thing. When your body decomposes or whether you get cremated, okay, you still have bones. Nobody knows what skin color they are, right? But the emotions are there and they're consistently parallel no matter what. I mean, I hate Facebook to be honest with you, but when I see an opportunity where there's a national suicide prevention line, I'll definitely put the old copy thing on there and share it with all my people. I'll do that because it's important to do it. And any opportunity that you can do to aid the process and do what you've got to do. But now you have a different type of suicide, Xavier. You got young kids that are being bullied to a point where that's their way out of it, and it's too late for the parents to respond. And the list goes on and on. Take that etc. button, etc. ... And we don't have a bunch of Freuds out there that are going to sit here and try to intercept these problems. You just don't have that. Do you follow me? It's just not there.
I follow you all the way. And this is exactly why I keep saying this particular thing. Be nice to people. And it's like you said, there's no medicine for this really. I know that they have medicine for depression, but you don't have a particular medicine for everything that is bothering someone. And that's why I say allow someone to talk to you, have an open mind, have an open heart,
right.
Have a lending hand. Because even though it may seem small to you, it may be gigantic for them in ways that it's not even meant for you to understand. But it is meant for you as a human and just as a person to let that person know, I'm here for you. Everything
right.
will be all right. We can get through this together. We will get you some help. We will do what we have to do to fight this battle. You are not in this alone. That's the main thing that we need to make sure that we let people know as well. We need to let people know that they're not alone.
Right.
So many people who fight these battles, they feel like they're alone. They feel like they're by themselves. And when you get into that type of isolation, that just furthers the depression even more.
Right.
So we have to continue to let people know that they're not alone. We're here for them. We love them. Like things like that. It's like, even if it's someone who you don't know, it's okay for you to look at someone who's going through something and say, I love you.
Right.
You don't know what the words I love you can do for someone.
Right.
You don't know the smile that you may put in someone's heart. You don't know the change of mind that you may put there for them. Because maybe they're not being told that by anybody.
Well, I agree. I mean, listen, everything you're saying is noble and fine. I agree. I mean, it's, and there needs to be a lot more of that out there because golly knows there's a lot of hate out there, that's for sure. But you're dealing with human beings. You don't know what goes on in their mind, what's going to set them off any trigger point. You even have wealthy human beings, rich people that kill themselves. What's the reason there? How many books do we have written on this show, Xavier, in 48.33 seconds and counting? You know what I mean? We don't really know.
Right.
But the point, and if you want to go to all the different bookstores and buy them on Amazon or whatever, there's medication called trazodone. And if you look through the pharmacy and figure out how many different medications that there are, or put you to sleep to, get you to relax a little bit better, but that's for another story. But the point, yeah, you're right. The word love is not certainly said enough. But, again, it's that slippery situation where how do you diagnose and detect this kind of stuff? You don't. I mean, I hate social media, yet you do see a lot more of these stories, and we're going to continue to see them, whether you have Twitter, whether you have Facebook or whatever. It doesn't matter, they're there. And they're harder when they hit closer to home. And it's certainly one that I could certainly relate to, having been there myself. I'm not disappointed that I attempted to do it because there were reasons that led to that. Thankfully now I have a beautiful wife. I have some great in-laws where I feel like for the first time in my life I have a family that cares about me, not because of what I earn, but because of what I mean to them in other ways, and I'm thankful there, but not everybody is in that particular situation. So there's, again, I'll use the word extenuating circumstances all the time. It does happen, and if it does ever happen where down the road I get so frustrated it happens, well then then everybody knows that we have a checkout date at some point. The whole idea is if I had a terminal illness, getting back to assisted suicide, and I'll say this to everybody out there listening, me personally, if it were available to me rather than suffer, okay, I would take the assisted suicide route because I believe that you don't. It's not quantity, Xavier, it's quality. It is. And take it for whatever it's worth. I don't care. But if I were terminally ill, I don't need to stay around any longer for the sake of my expiration date being a little bit longer, because you can't prolong the inevitable. And what Dr. Jack Kevorkian did and Jeffrey Feiger did many years ago to keep Dr. Kevorkian out of there, and a trend that you'll start seeing with assisted suicide around there. There's a young lady out in Oregon, I believe, that moved to California, or was it California that moved to Oregon, who did it. Well, you know what? That was a very carefully thought out plan. And, you know, she didn't want the husband to have to survive any longer going through all that, so they did everything that they could. If anybody gets anything out of this conversation, okay, I'll give you 2 candid one-liners, okay? Live every day as if it's laugh. That's how I do. Live for the moment. But Morris had 9 lives. We have to make the most of the one that we have. So that's what I've got to say about it. What about you, Xavier?
I couldn't agree with you more, and, you know, there's just one other line that I want to add in there. I just want to let people know you matter and you are loved. Those are the only other things I want to add in there, because it's just very important that everyone knows that.
Okay. Anything else you want to add?
No, I'll say thank you, Scott, for allowing me to bring this topic to the forefront and being open to us discussing this.
Okay, well, that puts a wrap on this edition of the Real and Rare. On behalf of Xavier McKnight, my name is Scott Morganroth. We are here on the South Florida Tribune Broadcasting Network. Look for another edition of the Real and Rare next week. Have a good night, everybody.